Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new Nominating Contract packs and Match Pass players on eFootball. We've got a Club Icons pack and also a Turkish League Player of the Month pack. I'll, as always, put timestamps in the description for each player, so if there's a particular player you want to hear about, just click the description and there'll be a link to take you straight to them. So we'll start with the Turkish Player of the Month pack. In here we've got a bunch of 3, 4 and 5 star players. Start with the 3 stars, a couple of centre backs. First one is Kızıldağ. So first thing to notice with this guy is a centre back, 79 defensive engagement is not good enough, that's dodgy. The other defensive attributes are actually decent. On the right here, not the slowest for a centre back, but he is a bit on the slow side. That pace would concern me a little bit. Jumping's not brilliant, he's about 6'1", 6'2", not a bad height, 80 for jumping though. Physical 82 is not brilliant either. Heading 82, if you look at his skills, he does have aerial superiority, so he won't be too bad in the air, but he won't be brilliant either. He's got heading as well, and he's got man marking, interception, blocker, aquatic clearance. So he's actually got a good selection of skills for a centre-back. But this is a 3-star card. He's a little bit on the slow side. His defensive engagement's dodgy. And I'll question the aerial and physical attributes if they're high enough. And just a quick glance down the left as well. Yeah, he's dodgy on the ball. So he is a 3-star card. In terms of being good value for a 3-star contract, maybe not too bad value. But ultimately, I think when you do the Turkish League Challenge, you get a lot of lone players who are just as good as this guy, so I'm not sure it's really worthwhile. But we've only got 4 options this month for 3-star contracts, so we don't really have much choice. I think most people are going to have to pick them up simply because there's nobody else. It's just these 4. But yeah, move on to the next centre-back, Camara. It's a similar situation. It's the engagement against the dodgy one. It's got a bit more pace this time. Still not the quickest, though. Acceleration's a bit dodgy. But these other 3 defensive attributes are okay. They're not brilliant still, but they're okay. Jumping 81's not brilliant, but he's a bit taller, 190 centimeters this guy. 93 physical contact is fantastic. 80 heading's okay. You have a look at his skills. Heading, aerial superiority, so he should be good in the air. Man marking, blocker, slide and tackle, aquatic clearance, so interception's missing. The most important one for a centre-back in my opinion. That's a big miss. So he's a big tall guy with the physical and aerial superiority. He's going to be better in the air than the other centre-back. He doesn't have interception, and I think for that reason alone, if I'm going to pick up one of these two centre-backs with a 3-star, I'd probably go with the other guy. But yeah, both got similar weaknesses, to be honest, primarily the defensive engagement, really, and this guy's missing interception. So yeah, I don't think either of these centre-backs are particularly great, even for a 3-star contract, to be honest. They've got strengths, but not brilliant. Then we have a centre-forward, Nuno Da Costa. Normally a Fox, I've made him a goal poacher. Attacking rates 83, finishing 82, heading 80, speed acceleration early 80s. He's got a bunch in the early 80s and there's a bunch in the 70s. This isn't a brilliant card, to be honest. It's, again, these are 3-star cards. You know pretty much what to expect. You can't expect too much of them. And yeah, this guy's just not brilliant, really. Looking at the skill set, heading, I think they've added heading and possibly one-touch pass. He's already got first-time shot, aquatic finishing. He's a super sub. But yeah, I don't know. As a goal poacher, he's got a bit of pace, but he's not exactly rapid. Balance isn't brilliant. It could be worse. Not great on the ball. Passing is okay for a centre back, but for a centre forward, sorry, but not brilliant. But yeah, the finishing, the awareness, there's nothing great here really. There's a bunch of okay attributes, and there's some that are a little bit iffy. If you're really desperate for a striker, if you've not been playing the game long, maybe it'd be an option for you. But ultimately, like with the first 2 guys we just looked at, I really don't think he's great, even for a 3-star contract. And then the last of our 3 stars. So we've got a left back. So this guy's interesting because this guy, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've had him previously in a Worldwide Player of the Week. He's got some qualities, no doubt. But there's one very obvious weakness here for a left back. 77 speed. He is not quick enough. Some people might think that's okay. You might not mind too much. I've got a friend who loves using Daily Blind at left back. He thinks he's quick enough and he gets away with him. If you can get away with this guy, there's certainly qualities elsewhere. The acceleration's good. Balance is decent for a fullback. Stamina's pretty decent. Defensive attributes aren't too bad. They're not brilliant. But again, this is a 3-star card. So he's passable defensively. Down the left-hand side, for a fullback, he's pretty decent. You know, on the ball, he's pretty tidy. All in the 80s there. Low pass is going to hit 80 with a decent enough game plan boost. Lofted pass should hit 90 with a decent game plan boost. Curl will be over 80. Kicking power over 80. So if this guy's got pinpoint crossing, he's going to have a hell of a cross on him. And he does. So really, really good crossing on this guy. If you look at his skill set, there's a whole load of skills, really good skills here for an attacking fullback. But as much as he's got the shooting skills, one-touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, low lofted pass, there's nothing defensively. So as a fullback, with a lack of pace, no defensive skills, I cannot recommend this guy. If you're going to be using him as a fullback in the Turkish League Challenge, you're just going to kind of mess around. You're not too worried about defending, just have a bit of fun with him. Yeah, he could be useful, certainly with his crossing. He's got fantastic crossing on him. But defensively, he's going to be really vulnerable. If you look at his other positions, he does have centre midfield, attacking midfield. But with the low pass only being 78, yes, he has 80 in the game plan, but I don't think that's quite high enough. I'm just not too sure. To be honest, you can pick up this guy's base card. It's only a 2-star, but if you pick up his base card and you train it to play in midfield, you can get his passing up to the early 80s, low pass. So I personally would be inclined, if I looked at this guy and thought he was going to be quite usable, and I was thinking maybe making use of the skills that he's got, all his attacking skills, he's got most of those in his base card, if not all of them. I would probably just pick up his base card and play him in midfield and train him to have better passing, to be honest. But yeah, to use him as an attacking fullback, if you don't mind the defensive weakness, if you just can use him in a Turkish League Challenge, you're not too bothered about the defending, could be fun, could have a great cross on him, could be very effective going forward, but defensively, really vulnerable, and I don't think he's got the low pass to play through the middle. So yeah, ultimately, unfortunately, I don't think any 4 of those 3-star cards are really much cop. But we move on to the 4 stars, and straight away, this guy for me, I think is the best value 4-star card that we've got this time around. So we've got an attack midfielder, Eysseric. He's not the quickest, but the acceleration and the balance should both hit 80 if you get a good enough game plan boost. Physical contact of 70, that's a bit of a boost from his base card. Annoyingly, it's one of these ones where there's some ups and some downs. Essentially, the kind of real downer is that his dribbling's gone 4 down from his base card, based on the auto allocation of his training points on his base card. So dribbling, they've nerfed it a bit, but elsewhere, he has had a bit of a boost. His passing's had a bit of a boost, his low pass. Finishing's had a very nice boost, a bit of a boost on his attacking awareness and the physical contact. So yeah, there's some boosts on some of his attributes here. He's got a bunch of positions. I don't think he's got the pace to play out wide, to be honest, and I don't think he can defend well enough to play as a centre mid. So he's very much an attacking midfielder in my opinion. But outside of the speed, if you like your attacking midfielders to have more pace and to be more manoeuvrable, you might not like him. You might find him a bit frustrating. But outside of that, technically, I think he's very nice. That dribbling will hit 80 with the game plan boost. Finishing likewise. And if you look at the skill set, they've added heading for some reason. That's not going to come in particularly handy with this guy. But long range curler, long range shooting, one touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, low off the pass. Really nice selection of skills there. He got some great skills for his end product. With that low pass being 90 before the game plan boost, especially, the finish will hit 80. I think he could be a very, very tidy player, to be honest. I think for a 4-star contract, he could be really good value. So yeah, lacking in speed, keep an eye on that. If that concerns you, it might not be for you. But outside of that, I think for a 4-star contract, could be really good value. And then another attack midfielder, also a creative playmaker, and pretty similar, to be honest, when you look at the attributes. The athletic attributes down the right-hand side, very, very similar to Eysseric. Down the left, also very similar. The one key difference, I think, with this guy, we look at the skills, very similar. He's got a lot of good skills in terms of end product, but he's not got one-touch pass. So Eysseric's got one-touch pass over this guy. His finishing is not quite as good as well, but one thing to keep note of, while Eysseric is about 108 centimeters, this guy is tiny at 169. So even though he's not got a great deal of pace, he's not got a great dribbling attribute, he might just feel pretty neat on the ball. That low center of gravity, you could feel a bit nicer carrying the ball. So that's something to keep in mind. If you like players who are a bit more nimble on the ball, you like to dribble more, then I think you'd probably favour this guy over Eysseric. But like I say, he's not got one-touch pass, he's not got the finishing, but on the whole, very similar. I think this guy's just got he's a bit more manoeuvrable, whereas Eysseric, slightly better finishing, he's got one-touch pass. So 2 4-star attack midfielders who could be very viable options. But yeah, personally, I think Eysseric's probably a better option, but depends what you prefer. And this guy, Miguel Cardoso, down as a left midfielder, got great pace, he's going to be rapid. Dribbling's pretty good, but that's about it, unfortunately. He's got a bunch of other attributes that are kind of okay, high 70s with his ball control, tight possession, awareness, lofted pass. In terms of end product, all he's really got is lofted pass. He does have pinpoint crossing. They've added one-touch pass and through passing, I believe. He's already got long-range curler, long-range shooting, and he's got pinpoint crossing. So end product, sure, he's got the passing and the shooting skills, but that just means that his low pass and his finishing are going to be slightly better, but they're still not going to be great. Lofted pass with a decent game plan boost will hit 80. Pinpoint crossing, so his crossing will be all right, but all right is not what you're looking for, even from a 4-star. You want it to be at least decent, and it's just not really going to be that great. So Pace and dribbling, yes. If you're careful with the end product, you could probably get away with him, but I think on the whole, this guy for me is just not that great, really. So, and as an attacking midfielder as well, low pass, nowhere near high enough. So yeah, as a wide man, good pace and dribbling, yes. End product, pretty questionable. I'm not too keen on this guy. Now we got another left back, Guilherme, 4-star left back. He's got a lot of qualities, this guy, to be fair. So the pace is decent. It's not brilliant, but it's decent. He's quick enough, I think. Physical contact and balance with a decent enough game plan boost should both hit 80, which is good. Stamina's great, 91 before the game plan boost. Defensive attributes, though, not brilliant. They're a bit on the low side. On the left, he's a little bit dodgy on the ball. Would like those attributes to be quite a bit higher. Low pass is a little bit dodgy, but lofted pass at 81 is decent. 81 curl. We look at the skill set. He does have pinpoint crossing, so he's got a decent crossing, if not brilliant. One touch pass, weighted pass, soul control is a nice one for fullback. And you look down the bottom here, he's actually got some really nice skills for his defending. Blocker, sliding tackle, acrobatic clearance. I think blocker they've added, but as you would have noticed, I'm sure, he's missing interception. The most important one, I think, for a fullback. So not great defensive attributes, lacking interception. I think for a 4-star contract, it's not dissimilar to Mercan, the other left back we looked at. He's got some attacking qualities. There's a lot that's good about him, but I just don't know if I could trust him defensively without interception. He does have some nice defensive skills, like I say, especially with blocker being added, but no interception, and these all being early 70s and the aggression being quite low. Yeah, he's going to be a bit iffy defensively for a 4-star contract, in my opinion. Unless you've got 4-star contracts to burn, you need to use them up. I don't think he's really going to represent particularly good value, but he does have decent crossing. He does have some good strengths. He's got a bit of pace, and stamina's great as well, but yeah, the lack of interception and not being a bit better defensively and being a bit dodgy on the ball, I think on the whole he's just not quite gonna make the grade for me as a 4-star. We have a goalkeeper, we've got Muslera. I've had a couple of versions of this guy before. This is a decent version of him, to be fair. The one I've got is I think the most recent one from a Turkish League pack. This one's pretty similar. It's a 4-star card, so can't expect too much. The awareness is still a little bit low, though. I would like it to be at least 1 or 2 higher. Catching and parrying are okay. Reflexes are great. Reach at 78 is the dodgy one. That will hit 80 with the decent game plan boost. So I think on the whole, he's a decent keeper. Not a brilliant one, though. Jumping's pretty good at 84. He's got a good bunch of skills for a goalie. Long throw and low punt there. Penalty saver. Yeah, I think the awareness is a bit on the low side and the reach is a bit dodgy. So I'm not sure he's brilliant value for a 4-star contract, but if you don't have a particularly good goalkeeper for the Turkish League Challenge, when that pops up, he could be worth picking up. So it depends how many contracts you've got available, whether you've got a decent goalie from that league. If you've got the contracts and you don't have one already for that league, then he could be one that's worth picking up. He's certainly not a bad one, but like I say, the awareness could be a bit higher, the reach is a bit dodgy, so not brilliant, but it could be a useful one to pick up. Now onto the 5 stars, Ünder. This is a good one. So first thing I'll say with this guy, what's really interesting with this guy is that he's been in the Worldwide Player of the Week a couple of times. And the most recent one, I think it was the most recent one, it was a booster card. If you look at all the attributes on this card, apart from a few defensive ones, which are pretty much irrelevant, they're slightly different. Apart from that, all his other attributes are absolutely identical to the Player of the Week booster card without the booster activated. And I mean identical. Everything down the left-hand side and all down the right-hand side here, I've looked at them. They are identical. He's exactly the same as that booster Player of the Week card. Obviously, you don't have that booster, so you lose out on that compared to the Player of the Week card. The other two differences, firstly, is this is a whole player. That Player of the Week card was a roaming flank. His base card is a prolific winger, so it's another alternative version of him. But the other difference between this and that Player of the Week card, and I'm comparing those two because these two are the best 2 versions of him. That Player of the Week card had, I think it was knuckle shot and trap back as the added skills. This guy has soul control and through passing, and I think that's an upgrade. So if you got that booster version from Player of the Week, you've got the booster, so for sure that's a really nice version. I think roaming flank's a nice playing style as well for a winger. But with this one, soul control and through passing, even without the booster and with the whole player playing style, which will be active at left midfield over right midfield, I think it's a really good card. I like to look at this a lot. I'm definitely going to pick it up. Got a bit of dribbly stuff for the skill merchants. It's got long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot, through passing as I mentioned, pinpoint crossing as well, outside curler and soul control are nice ones to have. He's going to be really nice in the ball. Great pace. The balance is decent enough. He'll hit 80 with a decent game plan boost. He's got good dribbling, the attacking awareness, so we're 80 in the game plan. His low pass isn't brilliant. Whole player's active at AMF where he can play, but the low pass for me is not high enough to play him in that position. But lofted pass 84, the curl and kicking power both over 80, so with pinpoint crossing he's got some pretty nice crossing. Finishing's decent enough. I think from the right, cutting in onto his left foot, he's going to be effective, he's going to feel great on the ball. From the left-hand side, whipping crosses in likewise, and he's got outside curl as well, so he can go inside and outside, whichever side of the pitch you play him on. Like I say, he's about the same level as that Player of the Week booster card. So on that, and on that basis, he's the joint best version of Undy. He just doesn't have that booster, so you would have to give the booster the edge. But you might prefer the whole player playing style, and I think most people would certainly prefer to have sole control and through passing over knuckle shot and track back. So yeah, it's a matter of preference, but certainly I personally believe this is just about as good as any version of Undy that we've had. And I think even looking at it in isolation, I think it's a really nice card. Could be a very useful winger playing on either flank. So for me personally, I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. And then we finish with Mertens. So with Mertens, it's a very simple pros and cons situation. The pros, he's technically brilliant. He's got loads of great qualities down the left-hand side. The con is just one single thing, and that is his speed. 64. Ouch. I've used his base card once in the Turkish League Challenge. Once was enough. I hadn't really noticed that speed. It depends on how you play. For some people, you're not going to be too bothered about the speed. You might think that's okay, and if that's the case, everywhere else he's great. I think this is a really nice card. Whole player playing style. I think AMF or SS is where he'd be best. He's got good passing. He's very tidy on the ball. Clearly, with that speed, I don't think he's going to be very effective out wide, and I don't think he's got the physical presence really to play as a centre forward or the pace. But outside of that, like I say, if you don't mind the lack of speed, he's got all kinds of qualities there. They've added through passing as a skill. He's already got one-touch pass, and he's also got first-time shot, long-range curler. Sole control is a nice one to have. He's a super sub as well. I think, like I say, it just comes down to the speed. If you really want a bit more speed on the player, a lot of people would. He's going to be frustrating. He's probably not going to be worth using a 5-star contract on. But if you're a big fan of Mertens, and a lot of people are, and if you just don't like, or if you don't mind a lack of speed on one of your attacking players playing as a kind of number 10 in those kinds of area, I think this could be a fantastic one to pick up. He's got all kinds of qualities there. Very nice. And there's only been one version of Mertens with real pace. It was another Turkish Player of the Month pack. I don't think it was too far back, maybe 6 months ago, something like that. He had 81, 82 for speed and 80 something acceleration. That's probably the last time you're going to see Mertens with that kind of pace, to be honest. But yeah, like I say, if you like your players to have a bit more speed about them, not going to be for you. But if you don't mind that speed, he's got all kinds of qualities. He could be a great card to pick up. So onto the Club Icons pack. We've got 8 cards in this pack, some 4 stars and some 5 stars. Let's have a look at who we got. We'll start with Stuani. So I'm not going to waste too much time talking about this guy. I think it's a pretty rubbish card, to be honest. I really don't think it's great. He's got a bunch of positions, but he doesn't have the pace to play out wide or the technical ability. Likewise, I don't think you can really get away with him as an SS either. He's very much a centre forward, fox in a box. He might have had a boost based on it, from his base card, but he's horrible on the ball. He's not got good passing at all. He's not got a great deal of pace. Physically, aerially, he's kind of okay, but yeah, the quality is really just the awareness and finishing. Yes, he's got great awareness. His finishing's pretty solid, but even if we hit this game plan boost here, get a good enough manager, +2 and everything, it's still not great. Could you do much with him, make him better? You could take a bit of dexterity away. Even if you go that far down, free up 12 points, a little bit more speed, better on the ball. Where are you going to put the last 2? Passing. Even if you do that, I'm not sure he's that great even then. For a 4-star contract, if you've got 4-star contracts to get rid of, maybe. I mean, we'll look at the other 4 stars after this and we'll see what options we've got. But yeah, for me personally, he could do a job, as a fox in the box, get on the end of some crosses. Maybe he's got decent jumping on him, 6'1". The heading's decent enough, and then he's got good finishing and offensive awareness as well. We look down at the skills here: heading, first-time shot. He's not got acrobatic finishing or aerial superiority, so he's not going to be that great from crosses. Super sub, okay, that's a nice one, but yeah, like I say, the awareness and finishing, they're the 2 most important ones for a striker, and he's got a bit of ability physically and aerially, but outside of that, there's really not a great deal going on. So for me, if you're desperate for a striker, maybe. If you're a fan of Girona, if you like this guy in real life, maybe, yeah, but looking at it bluntly, I just don't think this is a particularly great card, really. Then we have Aaron Cresswell from West Ham. So this guy, He's an okay left back. The big problem with this guy, with Cresswell, we'll go straight to the skills here. There's nothing defensively. No interception. There's no man marking, block, or anything else. Interception's the key one though, but he's not got any of those defensive skills. He's got outside curler, weighted pass, heel trick, some nice ones there, and then pinpoint crossing is a very nice one for a fullback, obviously, especially if you like attacking fullbacks. I know some people like defensive fullbacks, maybe not so important, but it's nice to be able to cross with your fullback if he does get forward. But yeah, 87 off the pass. The curl's going to hit 80 with the game plan boost. We'll hit the game plan boost so you can see. So with a good enough manager, lofted pass 89, curl 80, kicking power 90. He's going to have a really good crossover with pinpoint crossing. He's got good pace as well. Defensively, he's kind of okay. On the ball and with his low pass there, he's workable, he's passable. But I think ultimately without interception or any defensive skills, without some of these attributes being a bit higher, a little bit iffy as a left back. Could we do anything to train him up a bit better as a left back? We take a bit away from his lower body. You get away with that, I think. What do we want to do? Get his defensives up. Get up a bit higher. Yeah, I'm not sure there's a great deal you can do, really. I'd probably do that. He's still quick enough if you do that. You make his defensives a bit better. But yeah, as a left back, like I say, you would want to put interception on him. If you're a West Ham fan, I think you'd probably be quite keen to get this guy. In which case, yeah, you'd need to put interception on him. And he could be a reasonable left back. Looking at his other positions though, centre back, absolutely not. I've had a quick check. You can't train him to be a decent centre back, even in terms of his attributes and stuff. But he doesn't have the skills either, and he's tiny at 170 centimeters. But left midfield, this is where it gets interesting. If you want to train him as a left midfielder, take all these points back from defending. Don't really need those area ones either. Then I'm just going to take another one off lower body. And if you put all these up to 8, in fact, I'll take a few off there. That up to 8. Where are we now? I'm going to put a few more on there. What else have we got? I'll take one away from there. We're still at 80 for balance. There. If you like using old school wingers, I'll mention this sometimes. So a left footer on the left hand side. Traditional wingers, old school wingers, whipping crosses in. Great pace, great kicking power, decent balance, great stamina. And down the left here, he's tidy enough on the ball. Low pass up to 80, but lofted past 90 with 80 curl, 90 kicking power, and he's got pinpoint crossing. If this type of winger suits you, the way you use these kind of old school wingers, he could be fantastic with the pace and, like I say, the crossing. That 90 lofted pass, 80 curl, 90 kicking power, and pinpoint crossing. His crossing is going to be absolutely deadly. The speed, the stamina, bombing up and down the left flank, whipping crosses in. If that type of wide midfielder suits the way you play, fits into your formation, I think this guy for a 4-star contract could be fantastic. This is very much a 5-star left winger. As you can see here, these numbers aren't always 100% accurate, but it's a decent guide. 96 you see there, that just shows you how good he is in that position. So, like I said, it depends what kind of wing you like. If you like inverted wingers, cutting inside, hitting long range curlers, and so on, then yeah, he's not going to be for you. But if you like a pacey left foot on the left, and likewise a right foot on the right with good crossing ability, whipping it in for headers, I think this guy could be fantastic. So if that works for you, I think for a 4-star contract, this guy could be tremendous for you, looking at his attributes and his skills. So yeah, could be a reasonable left back, would need interception, but as a left midfielder, if you like an old school left winger whipping crosses in, he could be fantastic. Next up, we have John McGinn from Villa. So bit of an all-rounder with McGinn, box-to-box centre midfielder, a bit of everything. See the defensive awareness is a little bit low. That stands out straight away. Have a look down at his skill set here. He's got a bit of everything. Soul control is a nice one. Long range drive, dipping shot, accurate finishing, okay, fair enough. But then one touch pass, weighted pass, low lofted pass, those are important ones for a centre mid. Interceptions are a very important one as well. The one skill I think you'd want to put on him is through passing. I think to really get the best out of this guy, through passing is what you'd need. And I do think you'd want to maybe reshuffle some of these attributes as well, reallocate some training points. If we hit the game plan boost, you get over 70 with a defensive awareness, but still, I think we've got more than we need down the left when there are a couple of areas we need to improve a bit. So what would I do? I'll take a couple away from passing. I'll get his dexterity up, so his balance is up to 80. We've got 2 points left. Stick one defending there. I'd probably do something like that. Pace, not the quickest, but it's okay. Pretty good kicking power. Physical contact at least hit 70. Not brilliant, but it could be worse. Balance up to 80 now. Great stamina. Defensive is okay. The awareness is a bit dodgy. Tackling could be a bit higher, but the engagement and aggression both quite high. On the ball, pretty tidy, especially that tight possession 93 is great. and the passing's still pretty good even after taking a couple of points away. And we got the attacking awareness up a little bit as well. So yeah, I think ultimately this is just a solid centre midfield, box to box. I don't think it's anything special. I think Villa fans will be very pleased. Pretty sure this is the first time we've had any kind of featured version of John McGinn. I do think through passing you'd need to put on him as a skill to really get the best out of him. I think box to box centre midfield is probably one of the positions where it's the easiest to find players. I think there have been quite a lot of options in that kind of role, so I don't think there's anything particularly exciting about this card. But I do think he's pretty solid centre mid. He can certainly do a job there, and Villa fans especially, I think, will be very pleased with this card. Looking at right midfield, he's not got a tremendous pace, but he does have, as you saw from the skills, he's got long range drive, he's got dipping shot, and he's got pretty good kicking power. I just wonder, as a left footer on the right, could we do much? Could we maybe take some of these away? If we take a load of passing off, just to see how good he could be over there, because he needs a bit more pace, doesn't he? We do that, and then what else would we give him? Stick a bit more dexterity on him. One left, put it on shooting. In fact, he needs more shooting, doesn't he? How can we get shooting up to 70? Oh, we still got the defending on him, actually. Take that away. Maybe just do that. Something like that. Yeah, you could build in something like that and play in right midfield maybe. He's still not got brilliant pace. I don't think he'd be amazing as a right midfielder. But with the skills he's got, especially long range drive, getting his finishing into the 70s, kicking power 90, great stamina, bombing up and down the right flank. He could be useful, cutting inside, getting some shots away. So there's another option you got there, just to kind of show you how you could train him, how good he could be as a right midfielder. So it's certainly a viable option there. But yeah, I think probably better as a centre mid. And like I say, nothing too exciting, but for Villa fans especially, I think it's a solid option. He could certainly do a job, and he's not bad value for a 5-star contract. Then we have Teze from PSV. I'm not going to waste too much time talking about this guy. You can't make him particularly good as a right back. Even as a centre back, you see him maxed out here. He's not particularly great down the middle. He does have pretty good pace for a centre back. Jumping's not great. Physical is pretty poor. He's not particularly tall at 181 centimetres. That's like 5'11". Reasonable on the ball down the left hand side here. But you look down at the skills. Heading, acrobatic clearance, that's about it. It's not got interception, man marking, blocker, sliding tackle, aerial superiority. Yeah, he's lacking skills, he's lacking ability. Ultimately, for me, if you're desperate, maybe he could do a job for you, but nah, not for me. I think he's just lacking in far too many areas. I think it's a bit of a dud card, to be honest. So, bit of a disappointing one. I'll click the game plan boost just to show you how he looks with the game plan boost, just so you can see. But yeah, like I say, good pace for a centre back, but nothing else really particularly good. And with the lack of skills down here, ultimately he's just too far short of being worthwhile really for a 4-star contract, in my opinion. Llorente, wow. So I'm going to try not to talk for too long about this guy because there are so many positions he can cover. You see him here. This is the auto allocation for a centre midfield. I think most people know by now this is a fantastic player to have even his base card, but certainly a featured version. He can play so many roles. I'm going to cut to the chase. As a centre midfielder, you need to put one-touch pass on him. Looking down at the skills, he's got some good ones, but through passing is good, outside curl is nice, man marking, trap back, interception, fighting spirit, all great defensively. One-touch pass is pretty important. That's the one skill you're going to really need to put on him if you're going to play him through the middle. And I would also look at physical contact and balance. I think they're a bit too low. You could take a couple of his passing maybe, get that one away from shooting. Dribbling, I'd leave that where it is. We'll hit the game plan boost because this is what most of us going to be working with a decent enough manager. Get his balance up to 70, get his aerial up to 70. 1 point left, stick that on shooting, I guess. I'll do something like that, playing him through the middle. Still with decent passing, pretty tidy on the ball. Defensively, he's okay. He's not brilliant. It'd be nice to get the tackling up to 80 maybe. So you could shuffle these points around any which way. There's so many ways to use him. And then down the right, like I say, getting his physical and balance up to 70. They're still a bit on the low side though. I'd be a bit concerned about having him in the middle of the pitch, but he's very quick and mobile. Great stamina as well. I would like this guy personally most as a right back. In fact, I'm just going to use this drop down here. This is a useful little feature on eFootball Hub. I set that to right back, and that's pretty much what I do, I think. To be honest, I mean, that's crazy pace for a right back. I would take some of that away. If I take some of that away from lower body, stick it on defending. You can get his defensives all to 80 plus, and he's still in the 90s for speed and in the 90s for stamina. He's about 70-ish for physical and balance, which is okay. I would like at least one of those to be a bit higher, but you can't complain too much. Down the left there, he's decent on the ball. He's got decent passing. I think as a right back, this is a really good card. I think personally, this is the best way to use him. This is where you get the best value out of him if you use him as a right back. The skill set's good for a right back. Pinpoint crossing would be nice, but man marking, track back, interception, fighting spirit as well. I think he's a really, really strong right back. So yeah, right back, very good. Through the middle, you need one touch pass, could be good. Bit concerned about the physicals. As a right wing, I think you would need pinpoint crossing as a right footer. I think an interesting way to use him could be as an SS. If you were to take away all these points from defending, maybe just leave 3 on so he at least hits 70 for defensive awareness, or 2. 2, that's enough apparently. I would leave 3 on aerial, so he's 70 for physical contact. Bit more dexterity if you're playing in attacking positions, more dribbling, more passing. Would that do it? That would probably do it. 3 points there, could put it somewhere else. We'll just put 2 on passing and 1 on shooting. Yeah, using this guy as an SS or an AMF, again, one touch pass would be pretty beneficial if you're going to do that, but he's got first time shot, he's got through passing. I think he could be an interesting option. Got very good pace, the stamina. He's got a bit of defensive ability for an attacking player. That's the thing. Tidy on the ball. He's got decent passing. Offensive awareness is okay. It's not brilliant for an SS, but it's okay. Finishing likewise could be better, but just looking at the defensive abilities he's got, especially if you're winning the game, if you're maybe as a goal up second half, you want to try and shore things up, putting this guy on an attacking position just to try and stifle the opponent when he tries to get out of defence and start a counter attack and start an attacking move. He could be a pretty effective player in those parts of the pitch, winning the ball back up, high up the pitch. I just feel like he could be an interesting one in those kinds of positions. And what you could even do, if your opponent has an attacking fullback who's causing you problems getting forward, if you made this guy an SS and put him out wide, pin him to that fullback and help pin that fullback back, it could be pretty effective at that. He does have long range drive as well. Long range drive, dipping shot, first time shot. SS wide on the left, cutting inside. Again, there could be another useful use for him. There's a lot of ways you can use this card. I think if you want to make him the most effective in any position, I think right back is the position. As I showed you the way you could train him for right back, I think as a right back, he'd be the most valuable. But just the fact that you've got so many positions where he could be effective, this is a really, really valuable card. So if you don't already have a good version of Llorente, there have been slightly better ones, then in some cases you might not need this one. But if you don't already have a good version of Llorente, I would definitely pick this card up. I think for a 5-star contract, obviously we don't have to pay for these contracts unless it comes from buying the match pass. I think really good value, really useful, especially if you've got him on the bench. Could come on in many positions. And the next time we get a kind of a free training reset, whatever you call it, when they let us reset players' training, try loads of different builds out. There's loads of different ways you can use him. Super valuable player, useful in a bunch of positions, so many different ways you can use him. I think it's a really good value for a 5-star contract. Then we got Milenković from Fiorentina. So we've got a centre-back. Pretty strong, to be honest. First thing to note, extra front man. Not everyone's cup of tea. He will wander forward from centre-back. I don't like the extra front man playing style on a centre-back. I've only ever really used it in the Spanish League Challenge a few times when I've had Koundé and I've lacked centre-back options. And my extra front man Koundé, I've put defensive on him, the defensive instruction to stop him running forward. And I found that worked fairly well. I've not done it extensively, so I'll be interested to know if anyone else has tried that and how you found it. But for me, that kept Koundé back and he played more like a build-up and he was pretty effective for me. So if you don't like the extra front-man play style, could try the defensive instruction, putting a defensive instruction on him. And if you look at the qualities he's got, if you don't mind the play style, if you do a defensive thing and that works for you, defensively, he's strong. Down the right, not the quickest, but he could be slower. Physically very strong. He's about 6'5", I think now. He's 195 centimeters. He's a big, strong boy. Physical contact nice and high. Heading's pretty decent. 71 low pass is decent for a centre back. You look down the skills, heading and air superiority, so he's going to be strong in the air with that height. Man marking, fighting spirit, blocker, sliding tackle. He's got a good selection of skills, but he is lacking interception. A lot of these players are lacking interception. That's a crucial one. So if you do plan to get this guy, I think especially Fiorentina fans will probably look to pick him up. You're going to need to put interception on him if you're going to use him regularly because it's such an important skill for a centre-back to have. But, like I say, and if we hit this game plan boost as well, if you've got a decent enough manager, this is what you're looking at. He's actually got some really good attributes. The down left as well, the ball control goes past 70. Low and lofted going 70 plus. Got 3 of these defensive attributes going 90 plus. On the right here, as I said, the pace is reasonable. It's not too great, but it's not terrible either. It's pretty average for a centre-back, really. The jumping and physical, very good. I would maybe be tempted, even if it's just an OCD thing, see that one defensive attribute being below 90. You could take 2 away from aerial there. He's still going to be strong in the air with the height and with aerial superiority. And you've got just enough points to just boop his defensives up to hit 90 plus and all 4. So you could do that. It's up to you how you do it. But for me, I think this guy is actually a pretty solid looking centre-back. He's obviously not the most pacey or nimble. Depends what kind of centre-back you want to use. But if you want a centre-back who's going to be big, physically imposing, physically dominant, and be good at defending crosses if your opponent's spamming crosses, I think this guy could be really effective. So yeah, he desperately needs the interception skill. But outside of that, I think this guy's a lot of qualities. And depending what kind of centre-back you like, he could be a really good value one to pick up with one of your 5-star contracts. And speaking of good value, what do you need to say about Rodri? You got an elite defensive midfielder here. And it's similar to Llorente, really. If you've already got a good version of Rodri, there have been versions as good as this. There have been 1 or 2 better than this. But this is still a good version of him. If you don't have a good enough version of Rodri already, I think you're definitely going to be using a 5-star contract on him, because this guy is brilliant. He's an anchorman defensive midfielder. As you can see, defensively brilliant. Down the left, he's technically tidy. Not the quickest. He's not got great balance. So in terms of manoeuvrability and responsiveness, that's the one concern. If you like your centre defensive midfielders to be a bit more responsive physically, athletically, it might not be for you. But if you just want someone who's big and physically imposing and good at doing his defensive work, there aren't many better than Rodri. He's brilliant. I wouldn't do a lot with the way he's trained. If we hit the game plan boost here, you could actually take 2 away from his defensives here, free up 6 points, and he's still 90 plus in all of these, and he got 6 points. I would put them probably on dexterity, just give him a bit more balance and stuff. Boom. That's probably worth doing. You do it down the skill set, you know what you're getting from Rodri. He's got his man marking, interception, fighting spirit, aerial superiority, should be pretty strong in the air. He's not got great jumping, but he's quite tall, 6'3", so he'll be solid in the air. 1 touch pass and through passing, weighted pass, low lofted pass, so he's very good on the ball, soul control as well. He's just a brilliant defensive midfielder. If you look at his positions though, you could actually get away with him as a centre midfielder. If you're playing centre midfield, anchorman won't be the active playing style. He won't have a play style active. So, just to show you that you could do that, I'll do the most offensive build you can. So if we take away all his defending points, leave the aerial there so he at least has 70 for jumping still. Put a load on his dexterity, get his balance up to 70. He's already technically pretty sound. Passing's already pretty decent. Should we just go more on dexterity? We'll just do that for now. 2 more dexterity, 3 points left. Where are we going to put them? Put them on 2 on dribbling and then 1 more on aerial. So yeah, if you play him as a centre midfielder, I've done this with my Zakaria, who's an anchorman as well. When you play him as a centre mid, he's more like a box-to-box, and that's what you get from Rodri, I think. Retraining him this kind of way if you reallocate the points. Still tidy on the ball, really nice passing. Offensive awareness goes up to the high 70s. Defensively, still 80 plus on everything. Still not the quickest, but he's going to be a bit more manoeuvrable. Kicking power is great. Physical contact's great. Stamina 90. He could actually be a very effective, physically imposing, real physical presence as a centre midfielder, getting up and down a bit more without that anchorman playing style pinning him back towards your defence. Like I say, I've done that with Zakaria quite effectively. I like a double pivot sometimes with 2 kind of box-to-boxes getting up and down. So that's another way you could train him. If you've already got a good version of Rodri, you could pick this one up and train him differently, use him differently. Just another option you got. But like I say, with the auto allocation, you know what you get with Rodri. He's just a brilliant top-level defensive midfielder. So it goes without saying, tremendous value for a 5-star contract. And we finish with our goalkeeper. We've got Diogo Costa from Porto. This is a good, solid keeper. I won't talk for long about it. There's not a great deal to say, but I'll go straight to the game plan boost. And as you can see, 90 for awareness, 92 reflexes, catching and parrying both pretty good. Reach 85, he's 6'1", so he's not got amazing reach, but it's decent enough. The jumping, I think I'll just reset that. So you see jumping starts at 69. Yeah, so it's when you hit the game plan boost on eFootball Hub. Keep that in mind if you're on eFootball Hub. When you max a player out and you hit the game plan boost, it kind of resets it to 69 for some reason. So max him out, 81 jump, that will be 80 through the game plan boost. So ignore the jumping now. But what I would do with this guy, I would actually sneak a couple of points away from there, I think. I would put 1 on his passing to get his lofted pass up to 70. I like hitting up to the 70 mark. And then you got 1 point left. I'll take 1 more away from there, actually. His jumping still hits 80, so I get 2 points. And he gets reflexes even higher. Look at the skills down there. He's got low bunt, high bunt, penalty saver. He's the offensive keeper. But yeah, like I say, he's strong all round. I think this is a good goalkeeper, actually. Unless you've got some goalkeepers like Cech and Schmeichel, this, I think, is a very good keeper. Like I say, the awareness and reflexes are both great. Catching and playing are both good. That's actually quite uncommon. Reach is decent, if not amazing. Lofted pass up to 70 and jump at 80. For me, that's a good goalkeeper card. Unless you've got really good goalkeeper options, like I say, like some of the top legendary ones, I think this guy could be well worth picking up. I'm quite tempted by him myself. Now onto the match pass. Quick bit of mathematics before you look at the two players. You got a value, you got a premium. The value costs 500 coins, premium costs 1,000. If it's the first time you purchase each one of them, you get it half price. So on the value, it will only cost you 250. On the premium, it will only cost you 500. You get 200 coins back if you play all the matches on the value, and if you play all the matches and you buy the premium, you'll get 300 coins back. So there are some numbers for you, and we've got two players to look at. The value, we got Luis Alberto. The premium, we will get Gerard Moreno. So let's have a look at both these players. Starting with Luis Alberto. So Luis Alberto is an interesting one because we've had a bunch of different versions of him. This isn't the highest rated, but it's still a good version of him. The player of the week ones, he's always lacking in pace. That's the thing. Is for some people that is frustrating. If you like your players to be a bit quicker and more mobile, I personally do. So I found his player of the week. So I've had a couple of versions of him. I found them a bit frustrating on the ball, but this is trainable. We can train him as we like. This is on auto allocation. As you can see, as usual, he's great technically. He's got fantastic passing. Offensive awareness is getting 80 with the game plan boost. We'll go straight to the game plan boost. As you can see there, he'll get 80 for offensive awareness, and the type possession is 90 as well, which is lovely. The pace is the one concern for me. I mean, a lot of people will be happy like this. He's obviously great, but it just comes down to that speed. If you're okay with that speed, you might just want to go like this, and he's great. I think it comes down to where you're going to use him on the pitch as well. For me personally, as a central midfield with the orchestrated playing style, that orchestrated playing style will hold him back. He won't make too many runs forward, and I don't like that. I like my midfielders to either be a box-to-box or a specialist defensive mid or getting up into attacking positions. For someone to just kind of loiter around the middle of the pitch, passing the ball and not being capable of defending, for me that's frustrating because you can't make him good defensively. Those attributes aren't great. When you look down the skill set, there's nothing defensive there. So for me personally, I'll just yoink those 4 points straight back from defending, and I'll be focusing on what he's good at because, as you can see, one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, he's got heel chicken, outside curler, he's going to be lovely on the ball, soul control, long range shooting as well. I will be looking at taking away some of these passing these points that are on passing, because I don't think his passing needs to be that high. You could go all the way down to 4, and he's still on 90 for low and lofted pass. I would leave it on the ball as it is, to be honest. It'd be nice to get dribbling up one higher, but cost you 3 points. I'll get his dexterity up a bit higher, and then 13 points left. 3 more on lower body, gets kicking power up to 90, and now we've got his speed and acceleration both well into the 70s. 4 points left. You could put them on shooting, get his finishing up a bit higher. I'm going to put 1 more on dribbling, so we're 90 plus all the way down here. 2 points left. I'll put those 2 in shooting. I think personally, I would do something like that with the way I'll train him if I get this guy, and I would put him attacking midfield or SS where the orchestrated playing style would not be active. So that will kind of take the shackles off a bit, make more attacking runs, especially with that offensive awareness being in the mid-80s now. Great on the ball, great passing. His finishing's not too bad. He's got long range shooting as well. Got a bit more pace about him. Stamina's better as well. Good balance. Like I say, with the default allocation, if it works for you with a lack of speed, it could be brilliant. Either way, I would personally use him further up the pitch because he can't defend, and I don't want him held back with the orchestrated playing style. But with this kind of build as well, you've got this option to put a bit more pace, a bit more manoeuvrability on him, still getting 90 plus all the way down the left with great awareness. I think could be very effective as an attacking mid or an SS. So 1 or 2 different ways you could use this guy, but the strengths are obvious. He's technically brilliant. He's got loads of end product, and whichever way you use him, he could be very effective for you. So yeah, could be a decent one to pick up from the value match pass, only 500 coins. Just depends on whether he suits you really. And then our other option, this is really going to be one who suits some people, not others. It's going to be whether he suits you or, whether his play style more than anything suits you. As a dummy runner, there aren't many good dummy runners around. If you don't like a dummy runner up front, he's really not going to be for you. It's a very particular play style. What a dummy runner will do is, whereas a goal poacher will be constantly looking to run in behind the defence, playing off the shoulder of the defender, Fox in the box will lurk and kind of hold back a little bit, make later runs into the box. A dummy runner will just keep running out onto the wings. He'll be drifting out wide and trying to take a defender with him to open up some space in the middle. If you use that effectively, it can be really good. It can be very effective. Using a dummy runner as a lone striker, in my experience, doesn't work. But if you've got the right players around him, maybe he's a poacher alongside him, maybe he's one or two hole players coming from wide positions or as an SS or an AMF, it can be very effective exploiting the spaces that he's going to open up in the centre. So it could be a decent playing style for you. It just depends on what suits you. But looking at the attributes, you can see what stands out straight away, the offensive awareness. He's pretty tidy on the ball. Passing for a striker is decent. Finishing's pretty good at 88. If we hit their game plan boost, it's going to be 90 for finishing. Heading 79, jumping 77. He's going to be okay from crosses, but not brilliant. I found in my experience, dummy runners don't really get on the end of many crosses. So I'm not sure it's really worth trying to focus on the aerial side of things. Pretty average pace, decent kicking power. Personally, with this guy, if he's going to be popping up in wide positions, the thing is when he's drifting out wide, you're either going to be passing it to a guy in the middle to exploit the space he's opened up, in which case he's not getting on the ball in that situation. Or if you do feed him the ball once he's drifted out wide, which is where he's going to end up popping up a lot of the time, you're not going to be in shooting positions all the time. So you're going to need, in my opinion, to be a bit better at passing, a bit better on the ball. So I'm looking at all these attributes thinking, well, 93 offensive awareness, you could take a few away from there. He doesn't need it to be 93. Take a few points off there. We've got 9 points freed up by doing that. Like I say, I don't think making good in the air is really that worthwhile. Take 72 off there. Let's leave his physical contact at the 70 mark. I freed up 11 points there. I could put 3 increases on there. Gets his tight possession up. And then 5 left. Can we get his pass up to 80? Yes, we can. Yeah, I would do that. It'd be nice if we get his speed or acceleration up to 80, to be honest. That would cost us 3 points dexterity and 2 lower body. So, I don't know. You could take the 2 aerial away, do the lower body, get his speed up to 80. There's different ways you could train. It depends what you're going to prioritise. For me personally, like I say, if he's going to be drifting out wide quite a lot, I'd like a bit more pace and a bit more technical ability there. I'm not too bothered about the physicals. But as you can see, with the awareness and finishing both hitting 90 still, made him a bit tidier on the ball there and got his passing up a bit. I think it could be pretty effective. I've got his Player of the Week card, the one that I think most of us have seen from quite a while back. It goes up to 100 in the game plan, but that's a deep lying forward. It's been really good for me. This guy obviously isn't quite as good. He's got a different playing style, so I'm not sure how good he'll be. But certainly there are qualities there. If when he does get into positions to take chances with the awareness and finishing, he can certainly take chances. Tidy on the ball though, depending on how you train, you can make him very tidy on the ball and get that passing up to 80, but it's good for a centre forward. I think he could be a pretty effective player. If a dummy runner is someone that fits into your system, if you like that playing style on a striker, I think this is a good card and it could represent value. It is the premium match pass, so there's 1,000 coins. I'm not sure too many people want to spend that much on him, but like I say, if he does suit you, he could be a really good one to pick up. So yeah, 2 interesting options from the match pass players this time. So to summarise the nominating contract players from this time, I'm not going to bother recommending any 3 stars. You've only got 4 options. I don't think any of them are particularly good, to be honest. For the 4 stars though, I think the pick is Eysseric. I think he's a pretty solid attacking midfielder. Bit of a lack of speed, but other than that, technically very good bag zone product. Bardhi was also quite decent. He's a bit smaller, a bit more nimble, but Eysseric for me with one-touch pass and slightly better finishing, I think he's a really good value option for a 4-star contract. Cresswell, it depends how you use him. As a left-back, needs interception. He's nothing special, but if you like old-school wingers, getting up and down the touchline, whipping crosses in, this guy is a left winger. If you train him to play that position, he could be absolutely fantastic with some really deadly crosses. So for a 4-star contract, if that type of winger suits you, train him that way, it could be brilliant for you. From the 5 stars, don't need to say anything about Rodri, brilliant defensive midfielder. Ünder, I think, looks like a really useful wide man, could be really effective. I think Diogo Costa, as much as he's not an elite level keeper, he's not going to be able to get in your teams ahead of the likes of Cech and Schmeichel, like I say, but outside of those types of keeper, I think this is a really solid goalkeeper option. He's solid across the board, great reflexes, no weaknesses. I think he's a good one. I'm quite tempted to pick him up. Llorente, you've got about 1,000 different uses, can train him so many different ways. I think he could be really useful as he is, could be a really good right back. If he had 1 or 2 skills, could be really useful in attacking positions as well. I would consider these, I've put all 7 of the 5-star players on here. I'll consider this as 2 tiers. This top tier here, I think these 4 are the best 4, but I think all 7 of them could actually be well worth picking up. I think they're all very usable. These 4 I think are the best, but these other 3 down here, Mertens, it comes down to the speed. If you don't mind the fact that he's slow, it could be brilliant for you. But, you know, even though his acceleration is decent, he might get up to top speed in the space of a nanosecond, but top speed is still about 2 miles an hour. So if the speed bothers you, he could be a really frustrating player. It just depends on whether that suits you or not. Milenković needs interception. If you give him interception, if you don't mind the extra frontman playing style, he's a big physical dude. Could be a very powerful, very effective centre-back. McGinn, get the best out of him, put through passing on him. But if you do that, and if you need a central midfielder, box-to-box option, could be a really good card to pick up. So like I say, all 7 of the 5 stars this time around, I think are viable options, but those 4 along the top for me, they're the best 4 this time around. So that is all the nominating contract and match pass players for this season. Hopefully you found that useful, and I may have helped you to choose who to use your contracts on. Thank you for watching. As always, I'll see you next time.